Romances and Kisses by Ravendagger. Chapter 4. Birds, Bees, and Surprises. Clouds of pain and confusion swirled around Featherweight's vision as muffled, distant sounds popped and hissed around his head. "Featherweight, you okay?" asked a pure and angelic voice from above. He managed a feeble grunt in surprise, earning him a stab of pain along his left side. "Ah, he'll be fine," said another voice, this one gruffer and older. "Took doubles 10 times worse than that in my heyday." "Oh," said the soldier. "Get up, kid!" For the span of a few seconds, every pony was quiet. Only the wind spoke as it caressed the grass softly, whispering between the blades mounting wind before spreading a cold blanket over them all. "Maybe we should get him to a hospital?" asked the first voice. A small tremble worried beneath her sweet words. "Come on, Feathers, get up!" she practically begged. Cracking an eye open, he endured the pain of the sun's bright rays, the stare in an orangey red face. Scootaloo?" he asked in a dry croak. "Nope." That definitely was not Scootaloo. "Hey, Big Mac," said the brasher of the two voices. "Maybe you should perform CPR or something." Featherweight's eyes popped open as he swung himself into a seal, persistent. "I'm good! I'm alright!" Wide-eyed, he looked around him. His side was pressed against a great oak, where bark had recently been torn off, and fresh, strong-smelling sap was oozing out. Scootaloo was sitting a few hoof steps away, looking a little worse for wear, while Rainbow Dash sat beside her, casting furtive glances toward both Featherweight and the Pegasus filly. "You okay, kid?" asked the rainbow-maned mare, as she ruffled her feathers slightly, displaying them out above her as they caught the warm midday sun. Featherweight squirmed on the spot, aches and pains burning through his sore sides. Gingerly, he touched his ribs, wincing under his breath as a searing hot pain spiked to his chest. "Oh, Celestia, everything hurts," he thought to himself, before he turned and caught Scootaloo's worried stare. "Yeah, I think I'll be fine." "That's right," Rainbow Dash said, thumping him on the shoulder, sending another wave of excruciating pain through him. "Suck it up!" With gritted teeth, Featherweight stared at the mare. "Right, suck it up." He shook his head, slowly feeling the pain leave his body. "So, what happened?" he asked, looking around him. The four of them were protected under the shade of the great oak, long, thin shadows moving as the wind played among the leaves. Scootaloo broke eye contact, looking her away as her face red. We sort of lost control. Sorry. I shouldn't have made us go faster. Are you okay?" Tears hung on the edges of her eyes as she went down, face torn into half pout. Featherweight stood upright, rearing up as he flexed his limbs in every direction. "I'm fine, you see? No pain, everything's nice." He yelled through the cramps of stabbing pain. "See, kid? He's fine. Now stop worrying." "Sheesh." Rainbow Dash nudged Scootaloo's shoulder in a friendly manner, earning herself a small smile from the small admirer. Rainbow Dash smiled back as she stretched, yawning loudly where her voice popped. "You two woke me up." She whined, eyes lying on a pillow that hung on a branch of her head. "Oh well, guess that's enough sleeping for today." "You were sleeping here?" blurted out Featherweight. "Yeah, then I fell on you. Thanks for breaking the fall, kid. So, you two were trying to fly?" One of her eyebrows rose inquisitively. Immediately, Scootaloo's blush deepened. "Well, sorta. I mean, Feathers was teaching me how, and things started getting out of hoof." The older Pegasus laughed, clutching the side of her chest as she tumbled back, rolling on the grass, kicking out her legs. "You crashed into a tree!" she squealed, wiping a tear from her eye. Don't sweat, kid. Happened to me, too." She righted herself, still snoring uncontrollably under the less than impressed glares of the other three ponies. "Hey, how about I show you to fly?" Scootaloo's eyes became wide as saucers, and thoughts of humiliation immediately banished from her mind as her hero smiled down at her. She began hopping on the spot. Her entire face stared into a massive grin. "Really?" Featherweight strained to maintain a small smile. "Dang it, I wanted to teach her." Ravendagger looked up, her red eyes reflecting the deep blue sky. No clouds, no work, plenty of time. She said as a warm smile crossed her lips. Sure, I'll show you a thing or two. Scootaloo giggled gleefully as he pranced on the spot, earning her a few odd stares. You okay, kid? Ravendagger leaned forward, placing a hoof on the filly's forehead. Whoa, you're hot. Yeah, she is. Thought Featherweight, as he watched the filly bounce up and down with a huge grin. Fine, can we go now, Kelly? Ravendagger waved her concerns away. Sure thing! You two, coming to your feathers? One of the colt's hooves absolutely stayed to his aching size. No, I think I'll sit this one out. You two have fun. Oh, we will, said Scootaloo, as her wings beat nervously. Ravendagger waved goodbye as she took off. Her drowned draft battered him violently as he streaked upwards, a spectrum of light following her, until she arced around in a tight loop, stopping by Scootaloo's side. Come on! All right! The filly cried back. See you tomorrow, Featherweight! The colt watched, heart falling as the Pegasus of his dreams galloped after her soaring hero. Scootaloo flapped her wings giddily as she looked up into the skillful flyer that was her idol, while a single cloud passed over her head, obscuring her in its shadow. The moment they were out of hearing range, he gasped, clutching at his burning sides as tears welled up, so drifting down into a tree root with a splash, breaking on impact into the air. You all right? Asked a thick, smooth voice from Featherweight's side. Gasping in surprise, Featherweight stared at Big McIntosh's huge form. Lars Surf Pony had one eyebrow cocked, and his head slanted to one side as he stared straight into the little colt's eyes. I'm fine. Nope, answered the stallion, shaking his head. Let me see, he ordered, one of his gentle hooves rising and lightly touching Featherweight's ribs. Ah! He gasped before he pulled back. Slowly, the red hoof pressed against his side, running along his red cage. Nothing broken. He'll be fine. Featherweight gulped. Relief plastered over his face. Thanks, I guess. No problem. Big McIntosh looked away from him, as towards the two mares that were but tiny seats in the distance. Featherweight followed his gaze, began to shift his weight from hoof to hoof. Mr. McIntosh? Yep. Do you understand mares? Nope. Oh. The colt looked down toward the ground apprehensively. So, you don't have any experience with them? Big McIntosh said, the red of his face deepening before he turned away and began trotting towards his nearby cart. Insert your own Fluttershy, Cheerilee, or Red the Big Mac ship in this joke quotation here. Thank you. Featherweight followed him, climbing alongside the big earth pony. Anything? Anything at all? He pleaded, eyes wide and begging. Maybe you should ask your father. Come on, Mr. McIntosh, please! The only advice I ever got was from my friends, and it wasn't all that good. I really need your help! Featherweight glided away, looking towards the dry, crackling ground that made up the pathway towards Ponyville. Please! He observed Pony sighed, clicking his yoke onto the main bar of the cart. Fine. Mares will have flowers. You need to treat them nicely, because they're incredibly delicate. You need to feed them and care for them, and make sure they sound when I'm made to his son, and when they're ready. What is he talking about? Featherweight asked himself, as he canted his head to one side. Are you listening? Asked Big McIntosh. What are you talking about? I just want some gardening advice, not gardening techniques. What's that supposed to mean? The birds and the bees. Birds and bees? Featherweight scrunched his face in thought, before opening his eyes wide in surprise. Wait! Were you talking about? Big McIntosh squirmed under the weight of his yoke. Yup, he said uncertainly, scratching the back of his head. But, I mean, ew! The colt shook his head in disgust, sticking his tongue out as he grimaced. I just wanted dating advice! Big McIntosh gulped, his coat's color deepening around his face. Yup, I've grown an apple field to plow, he said as he began to gallop away, his cart bobbing and bouncing along behind him. Featherweight coughed as clouds of dust covered him entirely. biking him while he waved his forehoof in a vain attempt to breathe. Running forward, the still coughing colt galloped out of the cloud, to stand on the edge of the road, alone, the hot sun beaming down at him. Well, that was weird, he thought. The sounds of the cart starting to become distant. Now what? Scootaloo's gone. Big Mac is gone. Yes, I'll work on that project. He sighed. Maybe I can impress Scootaloo? Trudging ahead, Featherweight started to make his way home. Quiet wind and the happy buzzing of bugs were the only companions as he walked towards the Carousel Boutique, traveling along the well-trodden path that snaked into town. The area of town was quiet and oddly devoid of life. Only ponies in sight were those milling outside or eating their lunch at one of Ponyville's few restaurants, while the sounds of a filly crying and foals playing and laughing filled the air. A filly crying? Hooves scraped across the rough roadway as the colt stopped dead in his tracks. His ears perked up, listening, paying deep attention to the sound. Sobs, accompanied by both the familiar and cruel sound of bullies laughing. Keep going. It has nothing to do with you. Featherweight took a step forward. Stupid! No pony's ever going to love you! Maybe just a peek. I just love the fact that you instantly thought of Diamond Tiara, even though they said no they give indications. What can I say? She's my first thought! Turning, Featherweight looked toward the source of the muffled sound. A large bush was growing, part of it leaning against the carousel-safe store. Its leaves glowed with the sun's glare, as more laughter emanated behind it. Tiptoeing forward, he edged his way around the bush, slowly poking his head around it. Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara were standing beside each other, looking both wearing large and sly grins, while their eyes stared down a shivering white form. You're, like, such an idiot! No pony likes you. Diamond Tiara stepped forward, poking a hoof against the sobbing filly on his right flank. Look at that ugly blank flank! I'm sure you would have your cutie mark by now if your sister did suck up all the talent. Doesn't she ever get tired of having you around? Asked Silver Spoon, a blue raspberry to white filly. Their target lifted his head up, revealing a purple and pink mane encircled a tear-stained face. Sweetie Belle? Featherweight got up and took another step forward, his hoof set silently pushing against the green grass. Please stop, pleaded Filly, while she sniffled and wiped her running nose with a forehoof. Not so strong without your friends around, ha! Diamond Tiara stepped forward, hitting the ground with a small thump that sent up a cloud of dust. Sweetie Belle flinched away, her eyes desperately seeking as means of escape, when they suddenly locked with his. Hey! See, it would be tough if this was psionic chaos! Then all of you would be down! You're the ugliest... Diamond stopped her cruel rant as Featherweight walked round the bush, was so heavy as he stared into the pink filly's eyes, a look of pure loathing on his face. Running forward, Featherweight placed himself in between Sweet Belle and her aggressors. You okay? He whispered under his breath, a tone of clear and honest concern in his soft voice. Sweet Belle nodded, turning her face away from him. Diamond Tiara giggled out loud. What are you doing, Donnie? We were... Shut up! Featherweight pointed at her face with a full hoof, eyes blazing as he huffed angrily. What the heck do you think you're doing, huh? Bullying some pony like that! Don't you have any shame? He barked, his voice deepening as he advanced. Get out of here! Both Silver Spoon and Diamond Tiara stared at him, eyes wide as he backpedaled a few steps. You can't tell us what to do! I said leave! Replied Featherweight, voice full of venom. Do you know who my daddy is? We also know who your mother is. Ugh. The low colt took a deep breath of air, exhaling it slowly out of his nose. I know who he is, and I'm positive he'll love hearing about what you've been doing here. I'm not in a very good mood today, so how about you leave and nothing bad happens? Come on, Silver, let's get out of here, said Diamond Tiara, while she pulled her friend along with her. Silver Spoon stared down one last time before turning around and galloping away. A few seconds went by. filled only by the chirping of uncaring birds. And Sleepy's small sniffles. "Thanks," she finally said, encouraging him to turn around. Featherweight scratched the back of his head. "It was nothing, really. I was just having a bad day, and I heard you—" He trailed off, looking away. Sleepy wiped her eyes again, staining her coat with tears, a small smile appearing on her lips. "Well, thanks. That was really brave." She took a few shaky steps forward, before Featherweight rushed to her side, supporting her. "I'm fine. Just, yeah." "You want me to bring you home? It's not that far." The filly's face became a deep shade of red. Sure. Thanks." Both of them walked side by side, Featherweight occasionally placing his wings back on to stabilize her, while they made her way around the store, leaving her breathing tickling his ear. Featherweight began to blush as well, when he became aware of her body's heat against his sides. Arriving at the door, he coughed, dispelling her blush. Okay, here we are. Can you manage?" he asked, while she took on the threshold. One of her hose rose up as he clicked the door open. "Yeah, I can manage," Sleepy replied. She turned around, standing back towards the entrance. "So, thank you." Sleepy bit her lower lip as he drew circles around the ground with a forehoof. Featherweight scratched the back of his head. "Hey, no problem. Really, I'm happy." The cold froze as Sleepy leaned forward, invading his personal space. Sleepy, where are you?" His entire face pulled back, and eyes wide in pure shock, as the filly plugged her lids onto his own, hitting him with a little smack, while he mumbled incoherently below them. As quickly as it started, Sleepy pulled away, a huge grin and deep blush on her face, as she took a step back. "See you in school tomorrow?" she mumbled, before taking a step back and into the house. "Sleepy, Verity's books are not a go-to guide on how to thank people!" Featherweight stared at her, mouth agape, while his mind tried to find an answer. Before he could, the door handle was covered in a light glow. "Okay, thanks, bye!" The door shut with a bang! What the heck just happened? I don't know about you guys, but I'm right now playing Accidentally in Love right about now. Chapter 5. Projects in Hospitalization. Featherweight stood in front of the wooden door, hoof tentatively raised to knock, but only sign of movement from the timid colt was his coat ruffling in the light breeze. He sat there, the weak, dawning sun peeking just above the horizon, casting its tall shadow over the school building. Sweet and carefree humming flowed out of an open window, as Miss Cheerily went out about her daily chores, preparing the tiny schoolhouse for the soon-to-be arriving foals. "Go in, set up, wait for Scootaloo to show up, and no matter what, do not make eye contact with Sleepy," he thought before swallowing the lump that was caught in his throat. Featherweight leaned forward and nodded. The humming stopped on a curious yet happy note, followed by the skipping footsteps of the teacher. Cheerily's Leah grin appeared as he cracked open the door. "Oh, hello, Featherweight. You're here early," she exclaimed, as she moved back, opening the door wider. Thanks, miss. I just wanted to set up for the project, if that's okay with you." He trotted in, shoulders bowed under the teacher's scrutiny. "I'll just set the projector up." She smiled at him, as he trotted by her self-consciously. "Sure thing. It's in the cupboard and back," she said, before turning back toward her desk. Featherweight's footsteps thumped through the empty classroom, as he reached through the cupboard and pulled out the device within. Heaving it onto his back, he walked back to the front of the class and gently placed it on a table with a small thump. Boop! "So, you were working with Scootaloo? For the project, I mean?" Shirley asked over the shuffling of papers. Dozens of pages with red markings covered her desk, masking the spots of ink on her hose. Featherweight shrugged his saddlebags off, and reached in with a hoof to pull out a thick, craftily wrapped album of images. "Yeah, with Scootaloo. We're doing Pegasus physiology," he said, as he gently placed the transparent photos onto the projector slide tray. The old machine clicked delicately on each image that was inserted. "Uh-huh. So, did you enjoy working with her?" Featherweight dropped one of the images, blushing as he bent to pick it off the clean floor. One of Miss Cheerily's eyebrows rose. "I see. A knowing smile crossed her lips. I recall that you specifically asked to work with her. He joked, dropping the slide once more. She laughed, a cackle that filled the room with contagious glee. Ah, she finally sighed. Young love. Featherweight's eyes widened. It's not! I mean, wait! No! The cult moved away from the projector, practically begging as he marched towards his teacher. It's fine. I won't tell any pony. I was young once, too. I can still remember all those colts running after me. She sighed again, smiling contentedly as she stared at the ceiling. Right. Thanks? Is she crazy? He asked himself as he backed away, returning to his work and giving the daydreaming teacher a few odd glares. The teacher continued marking papers, while Featherweight finished up his presentation. Just as the last slide clicked into place, the sound of laughter and playful shouts made its way to the schoolhouse. Featherweight abandoned the machine and headed for the doorway. Sitting near it was a thump as he watched student after student drop in with faces twisted into happy, cheerful smiles. A familiar unicorn trotted into the building. Her eyes roamed side to side until they rested on him.
Oh, hi, Featherweight.
A sweet, melodious voice. He blinked as Sleep Bell trotted uncomfortably close and sat right in front of him, rubbing a hoof on her foreleg. Oh, Celestia, not her! Hi, Sweet Belle, he said, giving her a small wave as he backed up. His front slammed to the desk, stalling his retreat. How are you doing? The filly batted her eyelashes at him. There was a smile adoring her face.
I'm fine,
She said, lowering her face to look at the floor, with an apparent interest.
I was wondering, maybe, after school, we could.
He began to sweat. A cream hoof grabbed Sweet Belle's shoulder, pulling her back and away from Featherweight. Our arguing class is about to start, so I'll handle that legal fire sales of seats, suggested Applebloom, before stepping in between them. A long, slow sigh escaped the nervous Pegasus as he watched Sweet Belle turn around disappointedly to head towards the back of the classroom. Thank goodness, I had to thank Applebloom. His thoughts were short as the cream yellow filly turned and poked his chest discreetly. With a nod of her head, she asked him to follow. His brows furrowing, Featherweight followed towards one of the classroom's dark corners. Uh-oh! The sunlight traced a line to divide the area from the rest of the room. Small motes of dust flew around absently on the idle wind of moving ponies. Is something wrong, Applebloom? The filly rounded on. I don't know what you did to Slady, she said in a feminist whisper, her eyes seething with anger.
Well, if you ever do something naughty with my friends.
Applebloom backed out of the dark corner before she bugged around and walked over to Sleeve Bell with a happy, childish smile. Oh gosh, she is like her sister, isn't she? These fillies, they're all crazy, he thought, eyes wide as he watched her leave. Gulping, Featherweight looked around the classroom. Did I step into a harem fanfic? No, we're not doing anything featuring Dusk. Oh, thank gods. Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon were both hastily scribbling notes. Just as Snails were in the opposite corner, laughing at jokes only they understood. Pipsqueak and Chatter walked in side by side. Arthur of the two tossed an empty wrapper in the teacher's trash can as he trudged by. Where's Scootaloo? He twisted around, scouring the room for any signs of the orange filly. Okay, class, I think that's everybody, said Miss Cheerily, as he got up from her seat and trotted to the front of class. Now, to your seats, we're about to start. Her jubilant voice quelled the chatter that permeated the room as every pony focused on the teacher. Wait! We can't start yet! Scootaloo isn't here! Featherweight quietly glided past his seat and towards one of the schoolhouse's many windows, looking out into the playground and the tiny road that led to the building. Beautiful trees were starting to bud with fragrant leaves, and young, newly hatched birds flew about the sky in a carefree manner. Yet there was no sign of the orange filly he sought. Featherweight, please, get to your seat. We're about to start. Involuntarily, Featherweight pulled away from the window with a reluctant sigh and walked to his chair at the opposite end of class. A single beam of sunlight splashed across his desk, illuminating it in a sharp contrast to the shadows he was in. Alright, now today, we're going to watch the presentation that I'm sure you all worked so hard on this weekend. Now, I want you all to try your best, and this counts for a large part of your grade. The temperature in the room dropped slightly, as the majority of the students felt the blood in their veins turn to ice. The teacher kept talking, detailing how the presentations would work. Featherweight didn't pay attention. Instead, he stared towards the fillies that sat at his side. Sleephill occupied his seat to the immediate left, green eyes switching from paying attention to the teacher and taking quick peeks at him. On her left sat Applebloom. The cream filly slumped in her chair, her own attention on Sleephill. I'm going to regret this, psst, whispered Featherweight as he poked the fillies with a gentle hoof. Sleephill jumped before facing him from her seat. The second their eyes met, they both grew a few shades of red before staring elsewhere.
Is something wrong?
She asked, leaning towards him with a soft smile. Featherweight cringed a little. Oh, yeah, where's Scootaloo? Sleebase's face fell. She looked back towards the front of the classroom, her head held low.
I don't know.
She whispered back, her head turning to face the other direction, while her shoulders slumped. Are you sure? He insisted.
Leave her alone,
said Applebloom in a feminine whisper as he glared at him. The farm filly continued to glare at him as he opened and closed his mouth. I just want to know where Scootaloo is, he whined, pouting. A loud, authoritative voice from the front of the class interrupted him momentarily, melancholy. Featherweight? Asked Miss Cheerily, her face changing into a very, very princess smile.
Are you volunteering to go first?
Featherweight stared, wide-eyed, as the entire class looked back at him. Their expressions were pitying as he became the center of the teacher's attention. No? Miss Cheerily frowned at him, creases appearing on her forehead.
That's too bad. I think you should go first.
I can't, miss, he stuttered, shoulders bowing self-consciously under the massive pressure of the class's attention.
And why not?
Scootaloo's not here, miss, he said, pointing toward the filly at Question's desk. The small chair stood empty, as a testament to Scootaloo's absence. I was just asking Sleephill about that. You know, of all the fics that I've ever read, I have yet to actually read one where they tried to make Cheerilee and Scootaloo brother and sister. Sister and sister, like on the T3. The teacher's stern glare softened.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sleephill. Do you know where Scootaloo is?
The light and purple filly nodded sagely beneath her blast.
Scootaloo's at the hospital.
What? Featherweight looked at Sleephill, his jaw dropping while his mind reeled. Is it my fault?
Oh my,
said Miss Cheerily, a hoof racing to her mouth as she gasped.
What happened?
Applebloom spoke up.
We don't really know, miss. We're supposed to go there at the school to check up on her. I don't really think it's anything too serious.
Featherweight's entire body shook. She's sick! She's sick and they don't care? What do you mean not too serious? She's in the hospital! Oh, Celestia, well, it's my fault. I did push her a little. She did look a little pale. Even Rainbow Dash said she was hot. Featherweight gasped. What if it was her? That stiff mare, I bet she... Every pony stared at him.
I mean...
Miss Shirley coughed.
I'm sure she'll be fine. Maybe we can all make cards for her later.
An attempt to ease the tension in the atmosphere. Shirley forced herself to smile.
Now, how about we start those presentations?
She exclaimed in a loud and overly cheerful voice before walking to the front of the room.
Sims, Snails, you two can start.
Featherweight clutched his head with his hooves. Oh, Celestia, what have I done? A moment later, he felt a reassuring hoof on his shoulder. Turning, he discovered Slee's nervous eyes looking into his own.
It's going to be fine,
she said, pushing a lock of her purple and pink hair away from her face.
We can go see her together after school, all right?
A small, timid blush spread across her white cheeks. Featherweight slowly pushed her hoof away. Thanks, I guess. I, appreciate it. Sniffs and Snails walked up to the front, both of them shifting their weight nervously from hoof to hoof. We're doing our project on unicorns, began Snips. Yeah, unicorns, added Snails. Both of them stood in front of the class, silent until somebody coughed.
And what can you tell us about unicorns?
Asked Miss Cheerily, her smile straining towards the exits The taller of the two colts touched the hoof to his chin. They have a magic? Yeah! Agreed the smaller. And they can do all sorts of things like that, like teleport and make things float.
That's great. How about you saw us an example?
Said Miss Cheerily. Sif sighed. I can't. Mama forbid us to use magic ever since we played cats with her special toys. Cheerily's eyes twitched. Slowly, she slumped into a sitting position and took a deep breath.
I'm going to regret this, she mumbled. So, what else can you tell us about unicorns?
The faces of both colts blinked.
Their physique, for example. Is there something unique about that?
Sniff giggled. Physique. The teacher's shoulders slumped in exasperation.
What do they have that other ponies don't?
Oh, I know this one, exclaimed Snails. I read about it in a book. They're hornier. The sound of the teacher's hoof hitting her face was clearly audible throughout the classroom. Most of the students just arched an eyebrow, though some turned to their friends and whispered in low, curious voices.
Sniffs, Snails, what book did you use to create your project?
Snails grinned from ear to ear as he tried to his desk, awkwardly clapping against the ground as he reached his destination. We used this one, he said, before pulling out a thick, dark, and obviously well-used tome from out of his sorry saddlebags. Dumpy grin still plastered across his face. The colt walked back to the front of the room, where Snips shifted his considerable weight from hoof to hoof. Miss Cheerily cringed a little as he dumped the book on her desk with a snort, the heavy tome glistening with a thin line of slime, connecting it to Snails' face.
What's the title?
She asked. It's Arcade Erotica for Unicorns, a beginner's guide, announced Snips. Yep, agreed Snails. We found it in Miss Twilight's library. It has all sort of really cool ways to use magic and horns, and even has an entire section about yoga or something. Maybe I should show the class some pictures. No! Yelled the teacher, her pink mane standing on end as she galloped between the colts at her desk. You did an excellent presentation, didn't they, class? Yes, it was great. Now back to your seats. Both colts looked at each other, beaming as they trotted back to their seats. Miss Cheerily pushed the tome further along her desk, ears twitching madly as she did so.
Now, children, I know it's a little premature, but how about we take an early recess while I write a very happy letter to the senior librarian, who apparently doesn't know how to sort her private books away from the library learning section.
I don't get this. It was under A, darn it! The class cheered, and every pony abandoned their desks. Dozens of chairs scraped against the wooden floor as they all hurried about the schoolhouse, before teacher changed her mind. Featherweight pushed away from his desk, allowing his chair to clatter loudly against the ground. Spinning on the spot, he spotted Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom, both of whom were starting to trot out of the schoolhouse. Wait, girls! He called out just as they walked out of the schoolhouse. Apple Bloom's red tail switching slightly, before disappearing. Sighing in frustration, Featherweight galloped after them, his footfalls drowned out by the sound of loud conversations and tittering laughter of the foals behind him. He stepped outside, blinking back as the sun's bright rays warmed his face and blinded him, forcing him to shield his eyes with the tip of his wings. Looking around, he spotted the two fillies standing near a swing set, their heads low as they spoke in worried whispers that were carried away by the afternoon wind. He ran toward them, ignoring the pleas of his friends that wanted to join him in a game. His host's steps slowed as he approached the two fillies, ears perking forward to catch a snippet of their conversation.
How could you, Sweetie Belle?
Apple Bloom said, the green filly shaking her head in dismay.
Doing something so nice. You little bull, too!
She glanced in disgust as her tongue rolled out. Sweetie Belle looked down in shame, her eyes constantly peeking toward one of the windows on the nearby schoolhouse, the window near his seat.
I'm sorry, Apple Bloom. He was right there and so cute. I couldn't resist.
Sweetie Belle sighed, her face fully got to look at Apple Bloom, when her eyes left her featherweights. Her ears perked up, standing stiff above her head as her mane shocked upwards, frizzing into a puffy mess,
Featherweight, it's not what you think.
She took a step back while swallowing her seat.
We were talking about candy. Yeah, very cute candy.
What's wrong with her now? Okay, that's fine, he said, waving a hoof dismissively. Where's Scootaloo? Is she okay? Sleebell, you should really stop reading Fluttershy's shoujo manga. The white unicorn took a step back, blinking a few times before answering.
Yeah, she's at Ponyville Hospital. Appleblom and I were going to.
Featherweight clutched his head in between his hooves. Oh, Celestia, it's true! I need to see her! Without waiting for Sleebell to finish her sentence, Featherweight spun around and ran. Appleblom let out a small sigh as the colt ran, a small plume of dust in his wake. Typical colt. Gets what he wants out of you, and then he wants nothing to do with you. Come on, almost there, thought Featherweight as he galloped forward. His hoof falls thumping against the soft ground that marked the land around Ponyville. Francis scratched against his exposed back as he galloped towards the large beige and brown building ahead. A sign in front proclaimed, Ponyville Hospital, the best and only care between here and Canterlot. Heaving breaths escaped him, his entire body covered in a scene of sweat as he finally made it to the entrance. Featherweight ignored it as he slammed the door open, letting it knock against the inner wall with a loud smash. Nurses and secretaries within the building all stopped their work to stare at his panting form. His wild mane fluttered lightly in the breeze to escape the doorway.
Can I help you?
Asked one of the nurses, sitting behind the large reception desk. Her head tilted to one side, as he expected him. Featherweight looked down at his scruffy coat and raggy mane, then smiled sleeplessly under the attention of staff and patients, scratching the back of his head. Yeah. He said, before walking up to the desk slowly. His shoulders slumped in shame. I'm looking for Scootaloo. She's a filly, about yay high. With a hoof, he measured it out.
Miss Scootaloo.
The nurse disappeared beneath the counter, only to reappear with a scheduling book. She flubbed through the faces slowly, while he sifted his weight from hoof to hoof, impatiently, and bit his lower lip.
He's in room 12, right across the next hallway. Just take the... Where did he go?
The nurse asked as he leaned forward, trying to find the cult. Faster! It's my halt! Need to see her faster! He ran, skidding around the corners and hopping over surprised patients as he reached a room with a large golden 12 on the door. Featherweight grabbed the handle with his mouth, twisting it open with a small click as he did so. The door swung inwards. The colt sat there, staring at the room with sharp-filled eyes. I'm too late, he thought about the sharp sound of a heart rate machine. Instead of the constant beats of a healthy heart, the machine droned out with a single monotone tone. An orange filly lay on the bed, head turned away from him, unmoving. She's dead? Ba-ba-boom! Or, you guys know you have to wait till next week.